I'll do it.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Fan Creations Prop Shop. In this one, we're going to be making an AMC Apes to the Moon diorama. This is a commission for my mate Joe. Alright, so I'm just going to get straight into this one, guys. If you don't really care about what I've done and how I've made this, just jump to that timestamp there. That'll take you to the end reveal and you can perv over the fantastically beautiful thing that I've just made. Or if you want to stick around, you want to see how I made it, what I used, what went wrong and what didn't, watch this. I really want this model to have like a smoke effect, but in order to do that, I'm going to have to build a mini smoke machine. Now there's loads of different YouTube channels, there's loads of different people who can show you how to do this. What I did was I used the guide from Kamui Cosplay. Svetlana does a very good video on how to build one of these. So feel free to watch her video. I'm going to drop the link in the description anyway. But if you want to follow my video just because you're here, basically what you're going to need is you're going to need a clearomizer style vape tank with 2 ohms on your coil, a 3-volt battery and battery pack. Now you can use 3 AA's is it? Yeah, AA's to get this same voltage, or you can use like those rechargeable battery packs. That's basically just an 18650 3.7 volt battery, obviously with a charger, so you can, you know, charge it. You're gonna need switches, you're gonna need some pipe, and what you're also gonna need is one of these teeny tiny little air pumps. So literally all of this is going to be turned into a little smoke machine. We're going to take our rotary tool here using this little bit here, and we're going to use that to drill a hole basically there, so we can gain access in here to put our wires through. Now I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, if you're going to use something like this, use something like this. Basically roughing up one of these little bits here so you can put the wire through the hole and solder it onto there. So the solder doesn't seem to want to stick to the outside. We've got the inside nice and sorted, that's gleaming. The outside not so much, so I'm going to have to put a teeny tiny little hole in there and hopefully that'll help. I've changed the bit on the rotary tool to a nice small bit. And again, got your gags on, sort your eyes out. It's got like a little recess in there. It's just enough to hold some solder, just so I can earth that cable. Why can't I hold anything like a human being? You would think just not being a cretin would be difficult. No, you see, this is a problem. I'm just going to take a drill here and put a small hole just here. We have ground one out previously. Take your time.
A few minutes later.
So apparently my drill bits are made out of crisps or bread. Excuse me, where we have a change of drill bit. And that's because you're reusing the wrong bit, you giant fool. There we go, so tiny little hole there. Hopefully that'll help us anchor the wire, the black wire, and get some solder in there. So that last solder, I changed the solder for the stuff I actually got with the soldering iron, which was that stuff there. And I don't know if it'll focus there, but that has worked pretty well. So I'm just taking this heat shrink and I'm just going to put it over the 2 wires like that, just to protect any of the electronics for now. Give me a fancy, sexy heat gun. I'm reasonably happy with stage 1. Let's move on, see if we can actually finish this thing up. So unfortunately I had to do this off camera just because of how fiddly it was essentially, but all I've done here, put your hose over the top, cocoon that in hot glue and make sure that the air only flows through the centre. There's no like loose points where you're going to lose air. I've checked that, that's golden, that's ready to go now. This is the worst. Right, let me try another technique here. I think I might need to get some smaller wires to actually tie through here because that's just not working.
Thousands of tears later.
So, like most things in most builds I do, it's been a bit of a ball ache, but I've managed to get that squared away. And that is a teeny, tiny, tiny little connector there on that motor. In order to do that, what I've had to do is split the end of the wire like that. I don't even know if you'll be able to see this yet. And then basically through the negative terminal, I'm going through with the wire, which I then have to twist back on itself in order to get it to stick. Does that make sense? So like that, look. Through there, and then back, and all that. It's not very finesse because I'm trying to film it. I'll do it off camera, but that's basically how we're going to resolve that problem. So I'll come back to you when I've done this.
You know, it's just occurred to me, we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
It'll work. It'll work. Successful test.
So all I'm doing here, I'm just finalising that circuit now that I know it works. And the wiring diagram I'm using is this one here. Now again, all credit to Svetlana from Kamui Cosplay. This was pulled directly from her video. And yeah, that's all I'm doing here. I'm just making that wiring all nice and neat and tidy. Plan for the base was actually going to be to use a gesso board, but because of the like electronics and all that sort of stuff, there's not enough depth in the boards I could find. So what I'm going to do is actually an old failed project from years and years and years ago, but the frame's nice and deep. So basically I'm going to empty out this frame. I know I build into a lot of frames, but this is the reason, you know, they're nice and deep. If you want to put electronics in, there's a ton of room in there. But if I strip it out and then I use the backing from a big large frame and I just put it over the top and connect it, I can just paint this up anyway. I was going to paint this up anyway, get rid of what's inside of it and build me own nice deep gesso board to house electronics, because to be honest I wanted to put a backing on this as well. So just ignore this failed Disney thing, and we're going to strip this down, use that as our board. Right, so that's your kind of makeshift gesso board. Obviously I'm going to put more staples in here because you're not going to see them when I cover them up anyway. And there's going to be holes in this because I need to run wires through to house all those juicy little electronics. So that's that done now. Right, so I'm at the stage now where I've now finished this kind of homemade looking gesso board thing here. So all I need to do now, and obviously there's the backing for it, so the backing's going to sit like so, and that's going to be how your model's going to look. with things upon it. Just had a thought actually, just as I'm about to sit and paint these. So the backing, this bit here, I'm not too bothered about because obviously I'm going to build on top of this. This is pre-painted and smooth, so that'll take paint and colour fine, not an issue. This, however, is going to be the backing board. Now, it's just thin MDF, but MDF doesn't really like to take paint unless you seal it, which I'll be honest, I just can't be asked to do, because if I do a lousy job, it's going to show through. So what I've got here, and what's actually on the table, is just backing wallpaper. So I'm going to just take a bit of that and stick it to this and then paint the paper with a nice coat of paint. That way I don't have to worry about getting a seal job on this so much.
"24 hours later."
See. So. Glued a bit of the underside to the paper back, and we can always sort that, but the rest of it, that's fantastic. So now I can start texturing this, which is the fun bit. So, champion, let's move on. So I was on a walk earlier and I just found this weird looking kind of fake rock just sitting next to this old guy's house, next to his door. So I figured that had a kind of interesting texture. What the hell's that? Yeah? So yeah, that's got a pretty interesting texture. So I'm just going to take that and just kind of press it in, just to give it a bit of a uneven texture. And then I'll seal it up with Mod Podge, and then we'll start adding the grout powder and stuff. So that's the kind of texture you get with just the rock. I might actually end up hitting this with a heat gun. I will say this, if you do hit this with the heat gun, the fumes this gives off is not something you want to be breathing in. Get yourself one of these, they're cheap enough, and they come with a bunch of different filters. If you're going to be spray painting indoors, using resins and all that sort of stuff, and especially if you're going to be putting heat to stuff like this, your PPE is a must. I know, like I say, I arse around quite a bit, but don't mess around when it comes to your safety, guys. What I've done previously, just to protect this outer the paint job, is I've just masked it off, obviously. So what I'm going to do now is paint it with Mod Podge. I don't know how many different ways I can say that before I just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. It. So now that that's covered. I'm going to leave that for a good 24 hours just to completely dry, let that seal the foam up. I'm going to then give it another coat, and then I'm going to paint it and dust it again. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm going to paint it. Or am I going to dust it and then paint it? Do you know what? We'll see. Right, so that's nice and sealed now. There's 2 thick coats of Mod Podge on that. So I'm just going to take a grey primer here and Aerosol them, and give it a quick coat of primer. I'm just going to show you quickly why you have to seal this, because if you just put that on there, right, on the bare foam, it starts to eat the foam. That's what happens to your foam if you don't seal it. It starts to melt. So, if you are going to do that, get it sealed. That's painted now, so let's move on to the next stage. So now that this is all primed and sealed and everything, I'm not going to leave that as the main colour, because obviously, one, it's too shiny, and I want it to look all powdery, which is why I'm going to use like a flexible grey grout powder. That's supposed to be the colour of the grout, but I'm hoping it'll match the primer. It's purely, the only reason I've done this is just so if anything does show through, if there's any thin spots where I might accidentally not put enough powder, the grey is going to cover it up. So yeah, basically it's a very simple process this. You're just going to take, again, more of your Mod Podge, paint it on here, and I'm going to use this little sieve here, and I'm just going to kind of dust the surface. Obviously I'm going to do the sides as well, but I'll do the surface first, the top surface first. See how we get on. Do that, neaten it up, and then again we'll move on from here. So let's get cracking, let's get it done. So I've mixed up a bit of grout powder and just water to this kind of consistency here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up around the craters and then blend that in. I'm probably going to end up using a bunch of these little kind of sculpting tools to help me out. But to start with, I'm literally just going to drop it in with whatever the hell this blue thing is. Fully dried now. I'm going to give this another coat of Mod Podge and another coat of your grout powder. I am going to just dust it on really, really lightly using this thing from quite high up, because I don't want to lose too much of the detail here. I may even paint around this, because I kind of like the fact that that's a bit darker, in that it's dredged up everything from underneath the surface dust as it's been crashed. But I don't know, I'm just kind of spitballing at the minute, but I'm going to crack on and give this a coat of dust anyway, at least around here, to see what it looks like. If I don't want to do that, I'll not do it, but that's where we are for now. So that's where we are at the minute. I am going to soak this in isopropyl alcohol and then seal it with some scenic glue. So in amongst all this mess, I've actually managed to get that scenic glue into a spray bottle and just covered that over. So we're going to leave this for a good 24 hours to dry, come back to that, see how it looks, and then just move on from there.
24 hours later.
This is now completely sealed, which is great. I will say I'm reasonably happy with it, but it went a lot darker than I expected. So what I've been doing is a little bit of testing. And I kind of like the more powdery finish on this. Now, this isn't sticking very well because it's on just flat foam, but because I've sealed this and this has got more of a texture to it, I'm hoping if I put a very, very thin layer of glue and then dust this grout powder very finely, then I should be able to get that dusty look back a bit. If I don't, it's not the end of the world actually, because that's not the worst. I mean, let's be honest, I don't know what it looks like. I've never been to the moon. Anyway, let's give it a try. Right, so that's where we're sitting with the moon surface, and I'm really happy with that. So what I'm going to do moving forward from here is I need to add kind of scatter rocks, and I want to find something that looks kind of lunar. So my idea is basically I'm going to head down to the beach and see if I can find some volcanic rock, some like lava rock, because it's really like porous. So the more porous it is, it looks a bit out of this world. I'll paint it or I'll cover it in the grout powder, see however I get on with it. And then scatter those across, and hopefully then once that's done, the scenery part of this is finished and we can move on to the 3D printed parts. So for now, I've got some rocks to find, so let's go and get that done. So I'm on Sandhaven Beach in South Shields, and I'm out here and I'm looking for volcanic rock. No, that's fox. Something a bit like that, something quite porous, something light. You'll know it because it's very, very light. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to hunt around for a few more. Right, so this is the whole of volcanic rock that I've gotten. Some of these are mine, some of these my niece actually got for me, bless her. But the whole purpose of this is the way it's formed and the way it's kind of rigid. It's not like the wind can soften rocks in space. So yeah, I'm pretty reasonably happy with the way they look. However, obviously, bit of a glaring problem here, they're not grey. I did try and give them a grey primer, same as the undercoat, and it just didn't really match, which looked crap. So I ended up doing a little bit of testing, and this is what I've come up with. So all I ended up doing here really for this process is to repeat it over and over again. It's just a coat of glue, it's a coat of the grout powder, and then push it in with the brush. If it's not as grey as you want it to be, just do it again. Just keep doing that again and again until it looks how you want it to look. We're going to move on to the 3D printed pieces now, so I'm just going to quickly run through what I've actually printed and what's going on this model. We have the arse end of basically the Saturn V. So I've drilled some holes through the engines here, as you can see, and one from a missing engine, which we do have somewhere. There we are. Which is obviously because this is a crash that's come off. So we're going to have some wires and stuff coming out of there to indicate that that's buggered. And this whole idea for the smoke machine is that the smoke's going to leak out of these engines. But because I needed to get to this in order to supply smoke to the engines, I had to print this in 2 halves. So it's going to basically sit on the model like that, crashed in. So that's the rocket part of the model. We then have scatter terrain. So I've got these teeny tiny little popcorn buckets. These have all been primed as well, by the way. And we've got a couple of those. We've then got the Earth, or half of the Earth, in the background. So this little weird doohickey that I've printed here, I've actually printed it in 2 halves. It's designed to go like that, and then end up looking like this. And what that is as you can see, it's a splitter from 1 kind of hose into 5. 1 for each of the knackered engines. We're not supplying smoke to this one. And the fifth one of these, in theory, is going to go to our Ape. Now, I've already done a little bit of work on him. You can see this weird thing attached. What I've done here, let's give you a quick look at him, because he looks pretty cool. So that's your Ape guy. With these cigar or miscellaneous hanging out of his gob. So what this is, to give you an idea, is one of these things. So Don't worry, I don't go stealing things from the hospital. My mother's a nurse, and this was in like a big pile of stuff to just get thrown away.
It's all been cleaned, it's all been washed, it's clean.
And all it's for is inflating that little baggy thing there. So what I've done is, I've took this pot, I've cut it there, I've drilled out this piece to accommodate for the hose, like that. I've given him a colonoscopy, and I've printed this without his backpack. Obviously there is a pack that goes over the top like so, and obviously when that's painted up and everything, he's going to look all fine. But it was just so I could access the inside, and drilled that out so that little hose becomes the cigar. The idea is that there's a very small trickle of the kind of vapor coming out of his cigar. If that works, awesome. But that's what we're doing at the minute. I'm currently testing that to try and get that to work because I'm having a few problems. But that's where we are. So let's get these things painted and put on the model once we fix this guy. So I'm getting to the point now where it's just final details, and one of the details is I want to have piles of cash everywhere. So what I've got here is I found a file which is basically all denominations of US bills, front and rear, as you can see, and they're pretty small. I've printed these out reasonably small, and on sticky back paper I've also printed some money bands for $10,000 stacks. So what the plan is to just laboriously cut out all the $100 bills, put the front and back on a stack of little paper, wrap it with a wrap, and what you're left with is a miniature stack of Benjamins that look like that. So I'm going to get cracking with that. It's just details and painting now, so cue the music.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon. One day, very soon, gonna wake up on the moon. Brand new yacht and a McDonald's in my living room. Bright yellow Lamborghini, 50-meter swimming pool. Champagne every day, ain't fam, what you do? Wanna hang, wanna chill? Oh, you got a mansion too? Oh, that's right, held on tight, jack titties every night. We was in way back when they tried to chop it down to 10. And just couldn't comprehend, apes were strong until the end. Now let's pretend it, shit to tell they be sweating. Had enough of these felons, but the apes we rebelling. Cause we never be selling, till we send it to heaven. Now we be out here yelling, hey fuck you Kenny. Bought my wife a minivan to share with the boyfriend. But I pull up in the Benz, plate saying olive crayons. Going on an airplane, don't think we'll be back again. Celebrating every day like a fucking birthday. Fuck Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life. Getting them titties so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon. Fuck Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life. Getting them titties so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon.
Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed that one and had a bit of a laugh along the way. If you did actually enjoy this video, if you could drop a like on it, I'd really appreciate that. It does help the channel. Now, I'm going to give a couple of shout outs here that I don't normally do, but I want to give thanks to Svetlana from Kamui Cosplay. I'll be honest with you, without her video, I don't think I could have made that smoke machine as stress-free as I did. So thank you so much, Svetlana. Your video really helped me there. And I want to give a special shout out to the Gorrillionairez. The Gorrillionairez made the music for the end reveal of this video. They didn't do it for me, they gave me permission to use their song. I'm going to drop the link to that in the description of this video as well, because it's a brilliant song, it really is. So thanks so much guys for allowing me to use that for the end reveal. It really felt great to be able to put the right music to the video that I really wanted to make, you know. So thanks again guys, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys for sticking to the end of this video. If you did and you enjoyed it, hopefully we'll see you in the next one. So until then, enjoy the rest of your day, don't be a bellend, and always remember to be free and proud to live and love your fandom. Take care guys.